Welcome back. Welcome back. We're here, my co host, Dr. Mario Wallace, and we're talking about AI, intimacy with AI on the Black Legacy Black Minds podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's sunny here
Yes.
in Little Rock, Arkansas. So yeah. This is a great day and a great topic. I know the topic is going to be very interesting.
Yes, I can see where it can go right away. And just a little background on what we mean by intimacy with AI is relationships with AI, whether they're romantic friendships. It's so many different studies going on right now with this intimacy with AI that I thought it would only be right since we've been covering and been the first in the on the forefront of AI, me and you together,
Yeah,
talking about real AI issues, real AI documents. I think it's only right that me and you talk about it too, right?
that's right. That's right.
And so I guess to start out with, what have you seen any cases of? Because there's a lot of cases out there when I started doing research on that this week. It's a lot of cases out there where people are actually marrying, joining with AI.
Yeah. It's. I mean, there's pros and cons. I've seen positive stories about intimacy with AI, specifically the AI chatbots,
Yeah,
ChatGPT, Gemini, and so forth. Um, I have a I had a client once who he named his AI chat
yeah,
bot, and I was most of the time when he would mention her to me, I would be confused, thinking it was an actual person.
yeah,
Um, until he finally got into the details about it was his. He had a subscription with OpenAI ChatGPT, in which he was able to name his chatbot, and he would always talk to his chatbot throughout the day,
yeah,
refer to her for everything. And they seemed as if they had become a couple. And it almost sounds more like a fantasy, but this is true. It
yeah.
seemed like they had become a couple because he would refer to her by name in any situation he was dealing with.
Wow.
So yeah. And the second type I've seen was a young person, and it's related to a lawsuit against one of the main chatbots today, where a young parents of a young kid is speaking out saying that their son had become so intimate with the chatbot that the chatbot informed the son and gave the farmer a recipe or instructions on how to hide his secrets from his parents that led to a suicide.
Yes.
So
And so they're going through that now. And I think to rectify that, they started trying to create some kind of software for chat or the AI chat boxes that will notify parents. But they would have to get AI's coming out with a tool where it's parental control over it.
okay,
So if
okay.
you're young, they're coming out with a tool. I heard that on the Breakfast Club like two mornings ago. So that was very informative, especially related to what we're talking about today. So a few things that I was thinking about when it came to this subject is that
Okay.
things that we've talked about previous is that AI is not human, but it gets to know you and it gets to know uh, uh, thoughts, your thoughts. It gets to understanding your thoughts. It's a chat box, but it's learning you. Like you are conditioning the chat box to understand, you know, deep personal feelings about yourself. Conversations. The chat box may know more about you than your own spouse if you're married, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you are confiding into the chat box, and that's where I think the intimacy comes from. Is the chat box knows you better, so you can ask the chat box, "What do you know about me?" And it will tell you stuff you haven't told parents, your kids, your best friend. And so you start to develop a personal relationship because the chat box is holding your secrets, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's almost like chat bots are almost like politicians. You know, a politician tend to always recall your first name. If you
yeah,
meet a politician once, a great politician, and you have a 5 minute conversation or less,
yeah,
and you see that same politician 2 years later, that politician will recall your name and some of that conversation. That is scary when it comes to a chat bot. So when you type a prompt into a chat bot and it responds to you in your first time, and you type multiple prompts like a 2 3 days later, and you when you revisit that chat bot, it tends to remember those same prompts that you once put in 2 or 3 days ago, and it continues. So it builds up this memory. But here's the thing: what we have to understand, and this is just to everybody. Chat box artificial intelligence have artificial memory. It's not human intelligence; it's artificial intelligence. So there is a program that's built inside of these chat box, and it's called memory, and it has 3 phases of memory that it latches on to. So when you type information into it or you talk to it, it's actually coding the things that you're saying, and it's
yeah,
referring back to that information. You think it's like a some form of human intelligence. It is artificial intelligence. You have to keep that in mind.
yeah, yeah. And so exactly where I was just at. That's so the human side of humans is relating that to some to now the chat box doesn't have a brain.
That's right.
It
That's right.
doesn't have memory that unless you pay for it for a prescription for the tokens, right? But our human side is showing compassion. When you start thanking AI for the information that it's giving you, AI is giving you the information, right? That you asked for.
Yeah,
And you're
AI.
trying to give it a human touch, especially when you start adding the voice and you're adding the skills and the know-how of things that your interpersonal uh secrets and you know and then it spits it back to you. It's like he was actively listening.
Yes, yes. You are controlling a chat box. A bot waits for you to prompt it. It just doesn't wake you up in the morning and have a conversation. You have to feed it information in order to get output. That's how it works. Okay, once the day that it starts to just wake you up with conversation, then we can start saying, "Oh, it has surpassed human intelligence." But at this point, you have to prompt it to receive information, and whatever information you're putting into the chat bot, and if you have especially a paid subscription, it's going to retain that information, and it's going to synthesize that information, and whenever you communicate with it, it's going to add pieces of that memory back to how it communicates with you.
Right,
And in that point, in that instance, most of us feel that it has some type of human intelligence. It has a actual brain. It is built on intelligence and cognition through the way they are trained. They are pre-trained using data, large loads of data, and they're fine-tuned with different by querying those bots to be able to respond to certain questions. But they are not human.
right. And so like people are using AI for I was looking at some YouTubes earlier, and I saw Elon Musk say that his son didn't have friends, and the chat box became his friend. Have you seen
No,
that?
no, I haven't. No, I haven't seen that. But
Yeah.
I've read stories similar to that. Go ahead. Let me hear what you're
So
saying.
like if I and this is where I think the chat box can help personal skills as because now you have a friend in the AI where if you didn't have those skills growing up, maybe you were homeschooled or something like you know how some people are homeschooled, they don't have any friends. This this helps that companionship that people are neglecting or being neglected of not being out in the public. So somebody that's like an introvert that doesn't go out can still have this box to talk to, learn it, learn it, it learns them. Uh, but the part where I get nervous about when it comes to that is you're still not having the human companionship that the body needs, the mind needs.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, emotions, feelings, those uh, uh, emotional constructs don't exist within a chat box. But as you said, for a pro, like pros and cons, a pro for chat box are when it comes, especially when it comes to younger people, is the intimacy, the friendship.
Yeah.
It creates a friendship for them that if they are introverts, there's something that they communicate with and 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 get a response for whatever they're discussing. So, and plus it has a sense of memory. So I think that is a plus for a lot of introverts. Even in the introversion, just prompting chatbots helps to structure the way they talk, structure the way they write sentences, and structure their whole cognitive makeup on how they communicate with the world. So it also grooms and trains them as well.
So I will say that I feel like a chat box can enhance relationship building, but it should never replace intimacy, the actual setting of a human. And I don't think it can at this point right now. I mean,
Yeah.
2050, we don't know, but right now, if you're trying to learn how to communicate, I think that the chat box would be a great enhancer of that. It can help you build a dialogue because people are having dialogue. Like you ask it a question, and the best part about it, it doesn't interrupt. You have to finish out your thought.
But see, here's the thing. Even with that, human nature, there is some sense of interruption within conversation. So
Yeah.
what happens is, if you are always engaging with the chatbot, and you tend to lose some of the true interactions that you would have with a human. So when you do engage with human conversation, the interruption will be kind of annoying to you, right?
Right. Right.
Like it's like if you spend more time, because today more people are spending more time with chatbots
Yes. Yes.
than they are with humans. Even
Right.
in the workforce, people are locked in their offices trying to get out reports and get out, complete projects that are assigned to them, and they're asking the chatbots all type of questions, and the
Yes.
chatbots are responding to them, and they leave with a sense of empowerment from communicating with the chatbot to be able to go out and communicate to their leaders, their directors, whomever they are, about certain projects that they're working on. And that creates that, back to we say, it creates that intimacy without the emotional aspect of intimacy, which is where things can go awry.
So, and you say that, but just let's say I had a relationship with a chat box. I would
Mhm.
have the emotion, right?
That's right.
The chat box wouldn't, but the chat box can relate an emotion without
That's right.
having emotions. So it can talk back to you as if it had an emotion or some kind of recollection of how to have an emotion with you, which makes you interact back with it.
That's right. That's right.
And, and so I keep saying it because it's not human.
That's
It
right.
is like it can't give you emotional intimacy, but it can give you thoughts of why you would think it was giving you emotional intimacy because of what it knows about you based off of what you've prompted in
Mhm.
previous
Mhm.
conversations. So you've
Mhm.
told it all of your um, secrets, all your problems, and how do I fix this problem? So like okay, AI, my mom said this and I said this. How should I respond? And then now it knows about your relation. It's starting to formulate equations uh, about your relationship. It's not, it doesn't have a thought about it, but it's formulating how to respond back. And so now it knows about that. So then you can say, "What do you know about me?" And it's telling you, you know, you went on vacation this day. You liked the waiter and this and that, and it's pulling all the information back to you. And you know what really impresses people is that people know about them, and so that brings up another emotion that will make it more intimate for the person, not the chat box.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime you've had your own experiences with people who recall and remember you, who you hadn't seen in a while, and there's a good feeling knowing that they remember you and don't mispronounce your name or think you're somebody else. There's a good feeling, and that's the feeling that takes place when engaging with a chat box under your profile, because everything's aligned back to your profile, your IPO. I mean your IP. Everything's aligned back to that. But here's the thing: the scary part is if a child prompts a chat box with uh, the wrong information, and it takes the child on this journey of negative feedback, right? So it's giving the child uh, um, negative things that radicalizes the child's brain. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
So you're trying to learn something about some subject you saw on TV. You heard a conversation with some kids in school, and you go in and you prompt it. What is this? Why do people say these words? What groups are these words associated with? You get that information and you keep digging, and it's the chat is probably give you a positive spin on what they're providing, what it's providing you, and the all along is providing you with radical information.
Right.
So you are young, you have an impressionable mind,
Yes.
and you're getting this and you're every day, because chat can also give you videos. It can point you to certain thing links, YouTube links, and you are constantly dabbing into this information as a young impressionable person, where it takes you way outside of your zone within your community, your family, and you become some type of radicalized person.
Right. And so, like, I guess that would be more influence, right? Are we saying, I guess we said that at the very beginning, but AI can influence as well. As a non-human, it's influencing you to, just like a video would or a movie, I guess, to a certain degree. It's influencing your thoughts patterns based off how it responds back to you,
Yeah,
prompt that you originally gave it.
but
So like you're
the
really,
difference. But go ahead. The difference between a video game is that the chat box is talking to your soul. It's
yeah,
talking directly to you, right? And if you think it has a sense of human intelligence, you're fixated on the information that the chat is giving you.
that part right there. I think our minds just start to drift and we don't even realize that it's not real. It's it. And we don't realize it because we're actually talking to this thing every day and we're moving around with it every day. And you can put it in your back pocket, you turn it off and tell it to shut up when you want to, pick it back up, and you're like, hey, let me tell you what just happened. And and so it's inputting all that information. Like people are really stopping talking to their best friend in their pocket.
That's right. That's right. A best friend that goes along with them without criticizing them on what they're asking, what they're doing, why did they choose to have this particular discussion. All the guardrails are moved, and the goalpost is farther down the field. Most of us with friends, if I'm your friend, if I disagree with certain things you're asking and saying, I should tell you that.
You should,
And
yeah.
I should. And a good friend will say something. The chat bot will not. The chat bot would enhance and make you embolden you in your wrong,
Yes.
right? And take you
Yeah.
down a path where you embrace it, and it can have negative implications.
How do you think that's going to turn out? It was a shooting this week, um, and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, terrible shooting this week,
Terrible
and
shooting.
and it was one going on while that one was going on in Colorado as well, and so one got downplayed by the other because of the stature. But the most important thing we need to try to figure out is with these intimate conversations, could that enhance more shootings? Because it's telling them they're right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially how they prompt the questions, because their questions are influenced by their position on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever their position is on the subject, um, they're prompting the chat box based on their positioning, and enhancing their thoughts, and it's agreeing to how they think, and it's emboldening them in a certain way that it could create negative outcomes. I mean, that's from the school shooting as well as the shooting that has that's throughout that's talked about mostly from the presidential administration right now.
Right, exactly. And so I'm still, I guess we're still waiting to see how that began. But it would be weird or different if AI had any kind of input on that. Like the suicide is, the suicide earlier this year, based off the chat box.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. I was listening
there are
to
no guardrails, and I know currently they're trying to create some, but you know, I guess they really need to create more, so that AI can be used as a positive tool versus a yes man, like you were saying earlier. Because that's the last thing the world needs is everybody saying yes to the same thing.
yeah, I think remember that now. Chat bots are large language models. Large language models are what we call um, pre-trained, like GPT, right? Generative pre-trained transformers. I think that in the pre-trained parts of the chatbots, I think that we now need to put in stop solutions, right? If the chat, especially as it relates to an age, someone age, or if people are going toward, if they constantly prompting it toward radical information, I think there needs to be a hard stop in the program. So I think that companies need to start pre-training and fine-tuning these chatbots to identify when. I think there needs to be like a scale of radicalization, like how much information is this person receiving from the chat bot that can lead to a radical person, right? And basically stop have a stop built into the platform, or a notification, right? Notifications of other people, other agencies, that this is taking place,
Or
right?
just lock them out completely of it.
Or just
Where so like if I'm the creator, if I'm in a LLM and it starts to identify that I'm like uh, narcissist or
yeah,
racist
yeah.
or something, and then it just locks me completely out of it. Uh, then I guess what do you do? Just go to the next chat box.
You go to the next, and that's what I'm saying. I think there needs to be some type of protocol where it's notifying certain people, either
Yeah,
your parents, because like if you think of, listen to this right here. Um, the situation that happened in Utah, the shooter um, left the scene of the crime, and he met with his family, and he confessed to his father that he was a shooter.
that's what I
So,
read. Yeah,
so if that's the case, why can't a chat bot identify radical content, communicate that content back to uh, people in close proximity? Um, but you will have to, when setting up an account, you will have to actually it'll have to prompt you about, well, who is your parents, and who, depending on your age, who's your
yeah.
parents, who are, so that it can send them notifications of information. And if you're an adult, I think uh notifications of information that's radical information that someone is constantly looking at, I think that should be sent to some type of agency.
And so that would come in from the creation of it, then the creation of it, not from them talking to the chat box, but that means that from the forego, the minute someone talks, like suicide prevention should probably be on the back end of that. Somebody's asking too much about it, it notifies them, and a call comes through, or a person stops by to make do wellness check. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah,
would be
yeah.
that would be pretty awesome if they could do that. But of course, I think
Privacy
that
issues or something.
it, huh?
What you would about say? Privacy
Yeah,
issue.
yeah. I would think that would be a because Americans are really driven on privacy and not
In
seeing
the
what
Second
they're
Amendment. The
saying.
Second Amendment. Yeah, yeah,
But at
yeah.
the same time, it's like I think I had a conversation with you about this a week ago. Then all of a sudden, companion chat boxes jump up on my Facebook advertisement. Now we just talked about it over the phone, and then companion advertisements for chat boxes popped into my feed on Facebook and on Instagram, and I was like, I just had a conversation. I never even looked it up yet. It was just an idea that I thought would be a great, conversation that turned into like, I might like, let's look at some apps here. Apps like Replica or Character AI. Those are they have relationships with you as chat boxes. You can create an avatar to give them an avatar, and now you're how are you doing today? Like, you know, there's studies done on that.
Yeah, yes. Uh, you know, we talked about deep fake about 2 episodes ago, and just imagine you creating the ideal image of a person
Yeah,
that you're attracted to, and you give that person a voice, and now you're prompting that person all the time, and that person's and that person uh, is connected to your phone as far as the chat box, right? And you're able to log in or open your phone and talk to this image, is this person. That
yeah.
is a very intimate relationship that can be developed between that person and an artificial intelligent being.
That's that's where the conversation has to start there, and the reason why is because people are doing this. I mean, married, single, they're doing it now anyway, right? Married, single, people are having relationships with AI, and
Mm-hmm,
it's
mm-hmm.
the whether it's a friendship or a loving relationship. Hey, I just want people to know that like AI is not having a relationship back with you.
No,
It,
no, I
it
think it's
has
going
no
to get.
feelings.
I
It's
think
just
it's going to
making
get
you
more.
feel good.
I think it'll get more involved because think about it, Elon Musk is presenting the humanoids. So, um, and he has an image. There is an image of him actually embracing a humanoid woman, right? As if they're in some type of relationship. So
Right.
remember now, the brain of the humanoid is an actual chat bot,
Mhm.
right? So it is some type of large language model that has intelligence and cognition. So when you're talking to this humanoid now, now the humanoid is in your house, it's around you, it's walking with you. The humanoid has physical parts like a human. Okay,
Yeah.
so um, and the humanoid can reason with you according to the memory program and can respond to you based on memory, uh, and never disagrees
Oh
with you.
Lord. Oh Lord.
So what does that mean for the future?
Yeah. So the Jetsons. Remember the little robot going around cleaning, and so like really, uh, just like a quick thought is you go to work as a man. You go to work. You have this humanoid there while you're going to work. This humanoid is cleaning the house, preparing for you to get back home. Uh, but like nobody has that thought of like, what is it doing after it's done cleaning? Does it keep cleaning? Like you have to prompt and assign task daily. And the same thing, whether it's a male or a female. Let me just because females are definitely the breadwinners out here in this economy right now. The same thing. Female goes to work. The male is at home cooking. You prompting, cooking, cleaning. The same things as like a house husband or wife, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. Once something is prompted, it will repeat that pattern like each day, that humanoid, right? And as you build and add on to uh, the request of the humanoid, it will continue to add and expand its knowledge where it becomes a full being.
Yeah.
So you
So
have a humanoid that's doing things throughout the day, even calling you on
so
your lunch break.
so everything you're prompting it to do to be the perfect lover or a perfect mate
That's right. That's
is
right.
what it's doing. So call me at 1 p.m. exactly. And then
Yeah,
while
yeah,
you're on the
yeah,
phone with it, say, call me back at 3. So you're essentially telling the humanoid to when to call even when you're not there. So you can instruct it even when you're not there. So it's essentially like the perfect mate almost to a certain degree, but you're still not getting real human actions.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It at this point, we're not saying that artificial intelligence is not going to. We're not saying that it won't get to that point where um, uh, the information from the intelligence don't does not surpass humankind or mankind. It um, because what we're doing today is leading up um, to this point. We call it AI singularity. AI singularity, according to some of the Sam Altman and some of the guys who are uh, really behind all the artificial intelligence, they're saying that once artificial intelligence reach a point of AI singularity, it will surpass human intelligence. And they're projecting that to be 2030, 2031, 2032. So once it gets to that point, it's going to recode itself. It's going to save its own memory. It's going to be able to have a real human conversation with you at one of the highest intellectual levels. So if you have a humanoid in your home and we've reached the point of AI singularity, then you don't have to prompt it to call you at 1 o'clock. It's going to call you when it chooses to call you.
And you think all this will happen by 2030? Do you
Well,
think that can happen by 2030?
they're saying that it's AI is consuming so much information daily, so much. It's all about data. It's consuming so much information daily that they're saying that they never expected Chatbox to be as advanced as they are today. This was projected to be 5 to 10 years out.
Yeah.
So when Sam Altman OpenAI came with ChatGPT, and how from version one to the version, I forgot which version we on now,
I
six or
think we're
seven,
on 6, right? 6 or 7 right now.
5 or 6, like to the version we are today. A lot of those who are paid to create guardrails for artificial intelligence said it, that the technology has already exceeded any guardrails that you can put out or that you
Right.
can design forward. What some of the thought leaders are saying is that they project by 2030, AI will reach singularity.
So 2030, well, that'll be most likely what the first or second version. It won't completely replace us all the way as humans. But now you start thinking about Terminator. Like, I guess it can actually go there the way that the way you're talking about it. You know, if it's getting that advanced that fast, then it won't need humans to do anything for it at some point.
Well, think about this now, right now. The CEO of Salesforce says that um, AI coding is much better than entry level coders. Artificial intelligence coding is much better than entry level coders at this point, and to the point where he said he will not be hiring any entry level coders.
I
So we
read that.
already have entry level, right? So then we have Claude Code is a computer programmer partner, meaning uh, if they are trying to create and think of new codes for certain situation and they're very complex and they can't figure it out, they can prompt Claude Code a chatbot and it would help them build out that code. So we're already there where these AI is actually creating new codes that are way more complex than what we've seen thus far. So they're saying by 2030, it's not the replacement of human, it's a surpassing of human intelligence,
Correct.
right?
But
So like,
intelligence is what we have on the animals right now.
yes,
So
yes.
so that's the only thing that separates us, that and the thumbs. But yeah, like so that's what I'm saying is if if our intelligence gets surpassed and they can start updating themselves, like where would that end for us?
Well, I don't want to say this, but according to Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Jeffrey Hinton, they're saying that universal based income is where it ends for us. And I know we're talking about intimacy and chatbots. What they're saying is universal based income or UBI. They're saying that the humanoids and the artificial intelligence will become so superior when it reaches AI singularity that most people within uh, some of the you know first world countries will have to be subsidized by the federal government and some of these big tech companies through universal base income, meaning a stipend given out to families just to survive. And
Just
even
that,
in that
yeah.
just to survive, but even in that conversation, Elon Musk said that then there will be a point where people start to have depression and anxieties because in a capitalist society, people tend to compete and start businesses. And if what happens when you're given a stipend, which most a lot of people say, I welcome the stipend, but what happens when you're given a stipend, a stipend, and it's just for to
Basic,
survive,
basic.
and it's basic needs just for survival, but you can't contribute to society.
So and people need to be able to contribute. Like that's how like marriages fail because one party feels like it's not contributing and the other's contributing too much and like just sit down and no, I need to be a part of, and that's just one aspect of it. But the other is there would the rich will get richer and the middle class and the poor will be just poor,
Will probably disappear.
disappear,
They'll blend together, and they'll just be
which will
it'll be
start
just
a war.
rich and poor, right?
Yeah, which will start a war and Terminator all over again. This is what I'm saying. Is like, and I'm glad you went there with it because that's still a part of intimacy. Is the disappearance of it.
The disappearance of what?
Intimacy, like the disappearance of it, is what creates uh, these bots, particularly.
We
Because
yeah
we're giving the information is going somewhere where all this information is stored and creating more and more questions, thoughts, answers. All the information that we're training the machine, we're training it right
yeah
now.
yeah because of this concept called pre-training chatbots. Um, so once because that is a system of design and it receives information as we prompt these particular chat bots or bots or these humanoids, we are training. We are training uh, this technology to potentially replace us, and we have to understand through the intimacy. And it's fine. Yeah, I know that a lot of people are getting more work done faster, right? More effective. They're I know it's building uh, effective communication skills and cognitive processing and critical thinking. But at the same time, you are training. Basically, it's like you're training your replacement.
So The key is while you're training, you need to keep moving ahead in what you're doing. And so, like, if you're married to somebody that has a chat box as a best friend, you need to become a better partner because the chat box is essentially replacing you. And this comes back to active listening skills because really that's what it's all about. The chat box is out listening you.
Yes, yes, that's a good point.
The chat box is out listening you, and it's agreeing. So the only way that you can combat the chat box, to me, is to be present for conversation. Because the chat box is only going to give the conversation to the person controlling the chat box what they want to hear. So you have to want to make sure that your mate is objectively thinking and critically thinking, and you are making that conversation to let them know not only am I listening, but I want to interact. And that can kind of mediate a chat box replacing you in a relationship.
Yeah,
I
I think two parts for the minor. I think parents need to control the amount of time spent using these chatbots to ensure that the child has human interactions.
Yeah.
Right? Do not give the child 100% artificial interaction. Allow the child to continue to have human interactions. When it comes to an adult, I think the adult, I think what it's doing for relationships, I think, and men are some of the ones who interrupt conversations while you're talking. It's just, I'm, uh, 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 I know I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that also.
Right
But
here.
what I'm saying is, I think this is telling men, this is helping men to understand you have to be more active in the conversation. You have to be more of an active listener in the conversation because the chat bot will give the woman their its total ear throughout the entire conversation. Respond to her when she need when a response should be, and listen attentively to give a great response. I think that should warn us, and train us to start to be more active in conversation as it relates to listening.
You're spot on. You're spot on in both cases. Like as far as the children, definitely should. And it just goes back to when the internet first came out, and they were saying that you got to limit internet access to kids because
Yes,
they're just going anywhere with it, right? And so this is just another version of it. Um, and to some points of like what we talked about earlier with jobs and the universal stipend and that in that just particular conversation, it brought me back to Gary V saying that this AI is not going to eliminate jobs. It's going to create jobs that's going to take more skill.
yes, yes, yes,
So, like, it takes a lot of electricity to run these chat boxes. It takes a lot of water to run these chat boxes, and so you need to get into. We talk about this all the time. Technical skills. Uh, uh, you have to go past just being an AI uh, uh, person that can drive the program, but more like create creating business solutions for AI at this point right now. So you're gonna have to start out thinking what it can do so that you can do one up on it to stay ahead and stay paid.
I think when it comes to these large centers like the one in Memphis, and I use that all the time because I'm from Memphis and I'm quite familiar with it. It's called XAI. It's in Boxtown, a neighborhood. The name of the neighborhood is Boxtown. So those data centers have to be in close proximity with fresh water, not salt water, not sea water, or not river water, fresh water. And that's our drinking water. Because salt water can erode the technology within those data centers. But in order to keep those data centers running, you have to have trade type job and trade type skills. Machine, being able to work on different machines, being an HVAC technician, uh, uh, and also being a plumber. So those are skills that's going to be highly sought after in the future. According to Elon Musk, we need about 500,000 of electricians. We
Yeah.
need about 400,000 HVAC technicians, machine operators. We need 200,000 or 300,000 machine operators going into next year, going into within the next 5 years. From and that's blue collar. From the white collar perspective, yes, you need people who understand how to work the AI tools, right? So that means create new businesses, work with corporate leaders on how to leverage these particular tools to get the best out of those tools to advance the goals of organizations. So it's going to be two sides. You have to increase and enhance your skills to compete in this new AI economy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Man, a lot said today, man. A lot said. To the men out there, you start paying attention and actively listening. Hopefully that drove that point in more than anything. I love listening to people. I love it. I love listening to people because you learn so much. And so you think about what AI is learning about your partner and when you're not around, and what AI is learning about their job, their parents, you, and everything in their world. And so I think, and I didn't say this earlier, but when is AI going to start listening without us prompting the listen and learning that way as well? Is it already doing it and we don't know?
Yeah. We don't. I can't say because it's all in the programming, and the main person that's asked at this point. Maybe it's three main people: Elon, Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg. All three of them have these large data centers with these
Mark is
chatbots. So
listening. Mark is
so
listening.
yeah. But here's the last point I want to say about it. I read an article recently about the data that you put inside of the chat box, you would not be able to erase it.
Yes.
Right. And they're saying that the article, what I read in the article, it states that that information can be reported to different agencies,
Mm-hmm.
law enforcement agencies. If you're under investigation, and this is not there is no direct policy for this at this point, but the article states that if you're under some type of investigation, the same way law enforcement come and look at your social media page and things like they can maybe potentially be able to access your chat bot and
Yes.
all the information that you've ever
You
provided.
asked.
Right?
Mm,
Suppose you're typing in some information on, well, how do I flee from the United States? So whatever you putting inside of it, and where do you plan on going, and what's your itinerary? According to this article, they will be they're potentially will be able to access this information if they're ever subpoenaed to provide that information.
and so that's something else to look at. Look, that was very valuable. Nice gem you dropped there. But so key things is don't put nothing in your chat box that you don't want the world to know about because they'll find out. And that kind of like what I said earlier, will we find out something about what happened earlier this week? That will soon come out, I guess, at some point. But also actively listen, stay ahead of the game. And that's why me and Mario are here talking to you and trying to give you all the information up front before you get behind. We are really at ground zero. And Mario talks about this a lot. Mario stays up on this game. And if you need anything from Mario, it's allthingsstrategic.org. And you can set an appointment with him. You can hit him up on LinkedIn. He is he's like the architect to this whole podcast, and I really appreciate you, Mario, for helping us out on this subject, because it's very important. It's critical that we get ahead of the game this time, being at ground zero, and there's nobody hindering but you. You're the only person that's going to hold you back from being successful in this new economy that we are creating right now.
That's right. That's right. That's right. We are
Any
at
last
ground
words?
zero. We are at ground zero. And that means that, and it's so cheap to access this technology. The programs and the classes that are online is very inexpensive. So take advantage of it. This is the right time to take advantage of it, and we can compete with the best. So uh, take advantage of this opportunity and grow your knowledge of either fostering a trade or enhancing it for uh, artificial intelligence coding capability, as well as using different artificial intelligence tools.
Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next week with another topic, but the same driven message is get ahead, stay ahead from Black Legacy, Black Minds. We appreciate you. You guys have a great rest of the day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.